Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash, and I hope you all had a great weekend. Remember, we are live. That means you're our third guest. I'm going to have Euan and I'm going to have Martin Green with me. But remember, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, ring the bell. If you ring the bell, then that means we can notify you and you'll never miss any content again. If you press the link in the description, that will take you over to all of our soccer articles, not just from Martin, Alex, Dave, and also you might find other sports from other writers. Now, it was a great week last week, but obviously every day we've got different games now. And if you see me wince, it's not because I don't like one of the boys' selections. I was doing the butterfly yesterday for the first time in 3 or 4 months in the pool. And I am, just say, I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm pretty sore. Euan, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I've not been to the pool. I really would like to. It's pretty warm here in Madrid, but I've not been to the pool yet, so I'm very uninjured and ready to go.
Are you much of a sunbather? Because you look like you have a holiday in a submarine.
Well, I am Scottish, so we were born not to be in the sun for too long. We came with there's instructions out the packet telling us to keep away from sunlight. So in Madrid, that's pretty hard at this time of year. But I try and find the shade.
Like the old Gremlin film, bright lights, bright lights. But a man who has not seen bright lights since maybe January is Martin Green. Martin, did you have a good weekend, mate?
I did, thanks, Flash. Yeah, but like you say, been a bit of a hermit since January, just staying indoors, watching football. That's about as good as it gets right now during this lockdown. But yeah, great to see the mighty Arsenal beat Wolverhampton Wanderers and had quite a bit of success with the picks as well. So good weekend all round, I think.
Yeah, I found it was quite trappy. I was up, down, up, a great value. Then some of the ones I thought were good value. I mean, I'll speak about because we've got all 3 shows today. We've obviously got La Liga, we've got Serie A, and we've got the Premier League punters, one after another, and they are all live. Live means that you can come and join us in the chat because we need your tips, we need your bad beats, we need your good stories as well. Euan, Barcelona last night, it was like Villarreal. They prodding a dog with a stick, and they really bit.
Yeah, they annoyed them a little bit, and I think provoked the best Barcelona performance we've seen in the Kiki Setien era. It's only been running since January, and of course it was 3 months off. But really good performance, some really nice goals. The back heel Messi assist. He saw Benzema do one the weekend before. He wanted to show he can do a no-look back heel assist to Griezmann's lovely finish, and even the Suarez goal. There's something just about the way he took that first time as well. So Barcelona, very much behind in the title race, 4 points behind, but they're not giving up and playing some good football. Going to give it a go over the next few weeks, I think.
Martin, it's typical, isn't it, that you, it's almost like after the horse has bolted, you're going to shut the stable door because Real Madrid 4 points clear. We don't see anything other than a Real Madrid winning the title, and yet Barcelona turn on a 5-star display. Real Madrid, we said a couple of weeks ago, just do Real Madrid to win and under 3.5, although I fancied that they might come unstuck at the weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, they won again. It was the 3rd consecutive 1-0 victory. They're becoming the masters of grinding out results. I think, as I've said a million times on these shows, squad depth is really important. That's really helped them see out games in the second half. I was on them once again, Real Madrid and under 3.5 goals. So, yeah, delighted that it came in. I think they can keep getting these victories. They've got a difficult run of fixtures coming up because they're playing on Friday and on Monday. But I think they've got the bit between their teeth now. I still fancy them to hold off Barcelona. Barcelona will run them close. They showed that they're not going to give up without a fight with that commanding performance last night. But yeah, they're definitely in the driving seat, Real Madrid, and I think they can get over the line.
Yeah, and another big advantage is that Real Madrid, they play after Barcelona every week, so they know exactly what they've got to do. Now, I'm going to put a little challenge together for all those that like their parlays. We're going to do a 6-match parlay. We're going to do 2 from La Liga, 2 from Serie A, and 2 from Premier League. So we're going to hopefully pick out the 2 best bets from these 2 boys, then the 2 from Serie A, then the 2 from Premier League punters, and hopefully we'll find some great value. Let's kick straight on then, Euan. We're going to start with you. And Valencia, very disappointing. -133, draw +240, and Valladolid at +350.
Yeah, Valencia have just not had a good time of it since the restart. There's a few candidates, isn't there, for the teams that have suffered the most that probably wished that football didn't come back, but Valencia is right up there. Just the one victory. They've changed coach. Of course, Celades was out. We've had Voro, the eternal caretaker. Paco, I think, was explained to you that he every couple of years he comes in and has a few months into the job, and he's not, doing too well either. They got a draw against Granada the other night, but I don't know how they drew that one because Granada sort of played them off the park. So not looking good at all for Valencia. They've got so many injuries as well. Even when you think things couldn't get any worse for them, last week we found out Rodrigo Moreno, I think by far their best player, he's out for the rest of the season. So just not going well for Valencia. And on the other hand, Real Valladolid, they've actually had a pretty good return from football. Just the one defeat away at Atletico Madrid, a game where they made like 9 changes to the lineup. I think they just threw that one away. They didn't care about that one. But they've been picking up draws and they got a win just in the last couple of minutes at the weekend. So Valladolid looking good. Still not completely safe yet. So Valladolid do still have something to play for. Away from home is going to be difficult. But yeah, Valladolid, if you're talking about who has momentum coming into this game, it's Valladolid that come into this one with all the momentum.
Yeah, and if you're going to play Valencia, you might as well play them behind closed doors with no crowd, Martin, because you look at Valladolid at plus 350. That means that double chance is going to be good value if you want to go with the away side.
Yeah, definitely. They've been solid as a rock in recent weeks, putting some very mature performances, despite not really have anything left to play for. They're 10 points clear of the relegation zone. They're very comfortable. You'd expect Valencia to be really going for it to get into the top 4, but it's just been horrendous since the restart. They definitely don't deserve a Champions League place next season. And yeah, like Euan said, chaos behind the scenes, star strikers out injured. Even though they've got a pretty big squad, things aren't looking very good for them. I don't think we're going to see many goals in this game, to be honest. The last 6 Valladolid games have been under 2.5 goals. You know, Valencia without their star striker, I think it's going to be a pretty tight, cagey affair. Maybe 1-1, maybe one of the teams will win it 1-0. So yeah, under 2.5 goals looks the way forward for me at about 1.67.
Okay, and I'm seeing in the chat that there's Jack Pancake, there's Jack Hurwitz, and they're saying basically Valladolid double chance is at 1.92, which is like almost like minus 110. So, I mean, I think that looks like the way to go for me. Go for Valladolid to pick up something, win. And listen, we think it's going to be a tight game. The 1.92 could be a great bit of value. Now, Celta plus 280, draw plus 200, Atletico plus 105. We know what we're going to get from Atletico, but do we know what we're going to get from Celta, Euan?
Absolutely not. This is, I think I've said this before, right here every week when Celta are playing, and I think that's the first one I look at, and it just gives me the shivers. I just can't ever trust Celta Vigo because you don't know what kind's going to turn up. It's not even like they're very good at home and very good away. There's just no pattern to how they do. They can win 6-0, they can lose 1-0, they can have all their starters out and do well, they can have... you just can't predict what they're going to do. And against Atletico Madrid, against a big team, it would be just typical, wouldn't it, for them to go ahead and win. Atletico Madrid, we can plan a bit better for. We know what we're going to get. Diego Simeone has used 4-4-2 every single match for about 9 years now. So we know what we're getting with Atletico Madrid. We know we're not getting Diego Costa in this one because he's suspended. We know we're not getting Joao Felix, and you've mentioned before, haven't you, how he's sort of their only creative spark at times. He's out of this one with an ankle injury. So I'm not sure about this one for Atletico. This is a kind of fixture they've had trouble in the past. It's been their bogey fixture a couple of times. Of course, it's a bit different now with no fans. Were they losing at Balaidos before because of the fans, because of the journey? It's a big journey, this one. So Atletico Madrid, I'm not sure if I could trust them to win. But Celta Vigo, you just can't trust them to do anything.
Yeah, I just think that Atletico will be far too strong. Oblivion says, why don't you just go Atletico Madrid, 1-0, correct score, plus 500. Everyone's saying, don't complicate it, go for Atleti win. Listen, I have actually put a star next to Atletico, and I think that would probably be one of my first bankers of the week. One, because of the value, and two, you can rely on Simeone to make sure that they stay right on top of it. And by the way, I had a little piece of Atletico Madrid for the Champions League at plus 1,200, Martin.
Looks good. I think they'll be formidable in the latter stages of the Champions League. Often get to the final, don't they, and fall just short, but they have been very unlucky in recent years. They've shown they can beat any team, home or away. It's not always pretty, but it's very, very effective. Interesting insight there that they're going to be missing a couple of their star strikers, but Alvaro Morata was actually back in the goals at the weekend, wasn't he? And, you know, they can always bring on Angel Correa, Vitolo. They do have that strength in depth. I think they'll win the midfield battle in this one. It's very difficult because Celta Vigo are unpredictable. We've seen them beat Alaves 6-0. We've seen them lose 5-1 to Mallorca and draw with Barcelona. This is a this is a crazy team, really, from a betting perspective. Do set alarm bells ringing, but I think with that sort of value available on Atletico Madrid, you've got to take it, really. You can get 2.15 on a straight Atletico win without even having to worry about goals or anything like that. The value's going up and up. So yeah, I'd just go for Atletico straight win. Atletico and under 4.5 goals if you want a bit more value at like 2.25. But yeah, I think they can just about grind out a victory in this one.
Okay, there's a couple of points that Martin made there, and the biggest one for me that I've heard about so much over the weekend, especially for our American viewers, that you're not getting the value you should be getting. I mean, I've said that Atletico are plus 105. Martin's just said that they're available around plus 115, plus 110. That's almost a 10% uprise. So listen, if you're not getting the right value, then go to sportsbookreview.com. All of the books are there. You can join them all, and you can make sure that every single bit of value is in your favour. Also, if you like this video, then just put the thumbs up for Euan and Martin. I know we're only 2 games in, but put the thumbs up, and then obviously when I go upstairs and say, listen, people love this video, they can say, well, they look at all the analytics, and there's the thumbs up, and they're massive. Okay, let's move on. Getafe at plus 140, draw plus 210, and Villarreal at plus 200. Now, Getafe, Euan, they are a proper unit without a goal scorer.
Absolutely, and even less this time around because Jorge Molina, their main guy in attack, he's suspended for this one. I don't know if you watched Getafe and Osasuna battle it out the weekend, but it was pretty dull. Nothing really happened at all. The most interesting thing from that game was that a couple of players got injured. There was just nothing going on at all. Getafe, they are a unit. They're very defensive, of course, we know that. But they've been really disappointing, I think, since we came back from the restart. They've got the oldest squad in La Liga, and you can tell they've also got the shortest squad in La Liga. 3 of their players, some of their backup players, have already left the club. They've abandoned ship, they've ended their loans, or they've become a free agent again. So Getafe didn't even have enough players to fill their bench. You can now put 12 players, of course, on the bench. In these coronavirus times, Getafe can't even fill their bench. They're not able to rotate very much because they just don't have players in reserve. And you can tell they look tired. A tired team can always still kind of defend. You can put bodies back. But a tired team just doesn't have that creativity. And they're going up maybe against the antithesis of what they are, aren't they? Villarreal, they do let in the occasional goal, but Villarreal have been so electric in attack since the restart. They did just lose to Barcelona, but as we said at the top, that was more so because Barcelona decided to turn it on. So, yeah, you got to look at Villarreal for this one, see if they can break down Getafe. And Getafe, you just can't see them scoring a goal right now.
Yeah, draw half time maybe, Martin. And the other thing is with Villarreal, are we going to see the Villarreal prior to the Barcelona game? Or if Barcelona give them such a run in that they might carry a little hangover into the Getafe game? Because Getafe, they have got energy in abundance.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about. They were really on song before that Barcelona game, and the manner of their defeat could have knocked their confidence a little bit in this one. You've got 2 teams with very contrasting styles. Getafe like to keep things tight. They don't concede many goals. They're not particularly ambitious going forward, whereas Villarreal play very expressive football. They're often a joy to watch. They leave gaps at the back and they concede. So yeah, I'm not sure which sort of style of football is really going to prevail in this one. Bit concerned that Villarreal might be tired from trying to keep pace with Messi last night. He was looking pretty sharp there. So yeah, I think the best thing to do is just to avoid this one. Draw half time does look pretty interesting, but yeah, I can definitely see Villarreal finishing above Getafe by the end of the season.
Okay, just a couple of little bits of housekeeping in the chat. Now, Almighty, yes, the Premier League punters will be on at 1:30. That's Eastern time. So wherever you are in the world, have a little look at your clocks. Secondly, Luffy says flashes are a trap this week, and I think we've already had it. I think Valencia at minus 133. I don't think they win the game. I think Valladolid actually get something out of it, so I think that Valencia are definitely the wrong side of the value there. Let's move on. Betis at minus 110, draw plus 250. Osasuna at plus 275, and again, this looks like it could be a very tight game, Euan.
Absolutely. It's Betis, another one of the many teams that have changed coach already. We've now had a few games with Alexis to sort of see what he's going to do. And the first thing he did was try to reinforce the defence. Betis had the 2nd worst defensive record in La Liga. And his main task has been to try and solve that. Marc Bartra, he was so good once upon a time at Barcelona and Dortmund, but he's just not having a good season. And what Alexis has done is put 2 centre-backs next to him, make it a back 3, give Bartra a bit of help. And what that's meant is, Betis are still not picking up great results, but they're not conceding as many goals. So, yeah, Osasuna don't score too many either. They're missing a few strikers as well, a couple of injuries in that department. So this could be another one, a bit similar to the Getafe Villarreal one we just talked about, where it could be a cagey one. Betis looking to just, stop the goals going in at one end, and, at the other end, of course, they've got some talent, but they've not been firing all season. Even Sergio Canales, their main number 10 at Betis, their main guy attacking midfield, he's suspended for this one too. So when the attacking talent is suspended, I mean, it's two teams that have been defending a bit better in recent weeks. You're going to go and have a look at those numbers for an under on the goal count there.
Yeah, and also maybe the draw half time, most goals second half. I mean, there's a few games that, Martin, that will be draw at half time this week.
Yeah, I like the look of that, Flash. So both teams to score was just a very easy bet to cash out on Real Betis for the majority of the season, just because of the gung-ho sort of cavalier style of football that they played. But like Euan said, they've kept things a lot more conservative with that three at the back now, which makes things quite unpredictable. It finished 0-0 between these teams when they met earlier this season. Just had a 0-0 Osasuna versus Getafe. Could be, a pretty tight game in this one. Don't really like it too much from a betting perspective. Maybe looking at unders for a lean, but don't think I'll be including this in any of my parlays or anything like that.
No, listen, there's plenty of people in the chat, and nearly every single game I've mentioned, they've actually come in and said, I'm passing this one, I'm skipping this one. I mean, Idris Mustafa says, Betis game is definitely a pass for me. It seems that type of week, Euan, but the next one, it's how do we find the value? Because Barcelona at minus 550, draw plus 550, and Espanyol at plus 1600, but the way Espanyol, they've chucked the towel in weeks ago, so how do we find the value? Are we going to give 1 or 2 goal head start for Barcelona?
I think I'm giving 2 because this is a really interesting game for a few points of view. The main thing here is Espanyol can be mathematically relegated if they don't win this game. And what that means is this could be a historic night for Espanyol. Of course, this is the rivalry, the City of Barcelona rivalry. And Barcelona, we've seen something that's quite interesting, I guess, since the restart is when a bigger team is 1 or 2 goals up, maybe 3 goals up, they take the foot off the gas because they've got another game in 3 days' time. There's no point winning 5-0 at this time. But in this game, Barcelona would love nothing more than to win by a whopping margin, send Espanyol down, a historic, embarrassing night for Espanyol. The fans would love it, but the players do too, as well. We talk sometimes about derby matches, wanting to get a big result. Sometimes it's the fans that want that more than the players, but I can tell you, some of the Barcelona players, they really do not like Espanyol. They do not like playing Espanyol. They do not like getting fouled and kicked off the pitch when they have that derby every year. Gerard Piqué, he obviously doesn't like Real Madrid, but Espanyol is just behind, and you can imagine he'll be giving a bit of a pep talk before this game. So I can see Barcelona going out, knowing they can relegate Espanyol and wanting to do it in absolute style. So I'm all in on this one, on Barcelona winning by many goals, because I think this is going to be a night that Espanyol fans are going to be taunted about for many years to come.
Okay, the other one I look at, Martin, is maybe Barcelona win to 0. Can we trust Barcelona to keep a clean sheet?
Perhaps. It's not a bet I really like to go with for Barcelona. That's my classic Atletico Madrid bet. But never been overly convinced by Barcelona's backline in the past few years. I also think they'll win this one comfortably. I think they haven't lost in their last 21 meetings with Espanyol, run going back all the way till 2009. But they do draw a few games. They drew 2 all earlier this season, and I think Barcelona will be really keen to exact revenge in pretty brutal fashion, just like you had mentioned. They do also have a bit of a habit of thrashing Espanyol, seen some very heavy score lines in the past couple of years as well. So, I think this is the sort of game that they could get 1 or 2 goals up in and then just tear into them. Very, very poor performance from Espanyol against Leganes last time out. So I'm going Barcelona -2, Asian handicap, 1.74.
Okay, well, listen, the boys are coming up trumps in the chat. We've got Barca Man. Barca, listen, he'll be coming up for a testimonial soon. He's been with us that long. He's got a great one, to be fair. He's gone with Barcelona to win both halves at plus 106. I like that. And also Barcelona to win and over 3.5 goals, which brings in what Euan said at plus 133. Griezmann at any time is 2-1-2. Can't trust Griezmann, to be honest, not with Suarez and Messi lying around. He's got his goal. I fancy that's not one for me. But win both halves at plus 106. I can definitely see that, even maybe half-time, full-time. So we're going to go with Barcelona all in. Now, Mallorca plus 130, draw plus 230, and Levante plus 190. If we get the Mallorca that turned up last week against Celta, this is the best 130 we have seen all season, Euan.
Yeah, but that's a big if, isn't it?
That's it.
I watched that Mallorca game. I went back and watched it. It was on at the same time as another one. I went back and watched that because I was just a bit confused. I was like, how have Mallorca won 5-1? They've never been that clinical. And when you looked at the game, they didn't create too many chances. They had 8 shots. They turned 5 of those into goals. So they just sort of put on a clinical masterclass. And it's not something that really convinces me going forward because they just had a very good day in front of goals, some really nice goals, some crisp finishes. But it wasn't like they dominated Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo probably could even think they could have deserved a draw in that one. So that 5-1 was a bit flattering to Mallorca. But at the same time, Mallorca, they're still in the relegation zone, but they're the team that can climb out of it. They need to win their home games because they're so bad away from home. Levante, they got mathematically confirmed their place in the league for next season last week, so they've got nothing to play for. Mallorca have everything to play for. I don't think we'll see 5-1 or 6 goals this time, but I do think Mallorca can grind out a win because this is their season on the line, isn't it? They're still 6 points away from safety. They really need to win this game. So yeah, I'm back in Mallorca, but certainly not by many goals.
No, I agree. I've got Mallorca. I've starred it. I've put a ring round it, Martin, because I think to myself, I like you, and I went back and I watched the Barcelona game when they got beat 4-0. And when it was 1-0, Mallorca actually had 2 or 3 chances that, listen, if one of them goes in, it's a completely different game. They were good on the front foot. They just obviously left the back door open because they had that little bit of a desperation going forward and they got caught out. And if you're going to get caught out on the counter-attack, it's definitely going to be by Barcelona. I think Mallorca plus 130 is great value, Martin.
Okay, yeah, I don't like this game personally at all. I thought that Mallorca's sort of home advantage would be diminished because there's no fans in the stadium, but they have actually still managed to do well. They thrashed Celta Vigo last time out. They held Leganes to a 1-1 draw. It's something about travelling off the island maybe and flying that they don't like because they always lose heavily when they're on their travels, and that hasn't changed since the restart. I just don't like Levante. They've only lost to Atletico Madrid, They beat Real Betis 4-2. They held Sevilla to a draw, 0-0 with Valladolid last time out. You don't even know what you're going to get really in terms of how ambitious they're going to be. On the road, they generally seem to play things a bit more conservative, get a lot of low-scoring games. At home, they seem to take the handbrake off and they have a lot of high-scoring games. So who knows what's going to happen in this one? Maybe I'd be looking at unders, but I think this is definitely one to avoid.
Okay, I like the home side at plus 130, but listen, there's no problem ever in passing. Luffy says, Flash, do you think you can repeat the over 1.5 parlay in La Liga like we did in Serie A? If you don't watch the Serie A video, we went 10 out of 10 last week, not this weekend, the week like midweek. No, I think there's too many games here that could finish 0-0 or 1-0, Luffy. But we'll pick our spot. We'll find the right parlay. Don't worry about that. Now, Eibar plus 150, draw 210, and Leganes at plus 180, Euan.
I think this could be a right spot. I really like Eibar in this game. Eibar and Leganes, they've always, Eibar found a way to get on top of Leganes. And I don't want to get too tactical, but just the way that Leganes play, they like to play with full-backs, but the full-backs are kind of older, they're kind of slow. And the way Eibar play, they just press full-backs so high, win the ball, get to the byline and get balls into the box. And Eibar have only won 2 away games this season. One of them was away at Leganes. I was at that one, and Eibar they could have won by many that day. So I really like Eibar in this one because, remember, Eibar still have everything to play for as well. They're very much, if Leganes were to climb out, if Mallorca were to climb out, Eibar's one of the teams that would be getting clawed and put into that relegation zone. So they've got everything to play for. They were at home. They've done well against Leganes in the past. And Leganes, they did win against Espanyol at the weekend, but that was the bottom team and the second bottom team. Somebody had to, or maybe it was a draw, but somebody had to win that one. I don't think that says much about Leganes. It says more about how poor Espanyol are. So Leganes, they kind of seem to have given up a couple of weeks ago. Even Oscar Rodriguez, the star loanee from Real Madrid, he's been so good this season. And then quite mysteriously, just a couple of weeks ago, he stopped playing. There's sort of reports going around that he's stopped playing because he doesn't want to pick up a proper injury because he knows he's going to be looking for a new club in a few weeks. So he's kind of given up. They've got strikers injured. Guido Carrillo on loan from Southampton, he's injured. They've got other injuries in defence. And yeah, I just really expect Eibar to come out, beat Leganes and secure their own place in La Liga for next season.
Yeah, great value at plus 150. The thing is with Leganes, they beat Espanyol. I thought Espanyol would be desperate. I mean, I thought they did really well against Real Madrid when they got beat 1-0. They were so together. And yet they can't beat Leganes. It was just like an absolute killer for me. But no, listen, we like Eibar at plus 150, Martin.
Yeah, this was one of my top selections in the La Liga article that I wrote for SBR earlier today. They are just above the relegation zone after that 2-0 defeat, but they were on an impressive 4-game unbeaten streak before that. They're still 6 points clear of Mallorca and 7 points clear of Leganes. So yeah, I think they can get the job done in this one and take a great stride towards securing survival for another season. They're unbeaten, like Euan said, in 7 games against Leganes since they were promoted. So they really do have their measure. 5 wins and 2 draws in that time, and like he said, beat them 2-1 earlier in the season. They do have a glimmer of hope now, Leganes, but I think Eibar can snuff that out with a victory in this one. I was looking at just a straight win, but you can also get 1.8 on Eibar draw no bet. Really can't see him losing this game, so I think that'll be the one for me. Eibar draw no bet, 1.8.
Listen, I knew you weren't going for the plus 150, Martin. I knew it. And just for clarity and obviously transparency, Euan, who's your team in La Liga?
That's true, it's Eibar, but I would point out that maybe makes me more critical of Eibar than anyone else on the planet. So, and I don't usually pick Eibar, but this one I do feel confident. I've seen them beat Leganes too many times.
No, I was going with the opposite sort of thought process of you knew what you was talking about with the way that they set up and the way they play. So I was giving you a pat on the back. So don't be defended. Don't be so defensive about your Eibar, Euan. I know you know exactly what the time of day is. Okay, let's move on. Bilbao plus 220. I thought they might have got something at the weekend, but going down 1-0. Draw plus 190. And Sevilla at plus 135. Euan, this does look like a potential 0-0 or 1-1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the styles of these two teams, you can just see this being a game where Sevilla have 70% possession, pass it around, and Athletic just sit in the box and let them have it, and maybe somebody nicks a goal, maybe somebody doesn't. It's Athletic Club. I could see them winning this one because, as you said, they were unlucky against Real Madrid at the weekend. Could have maybe had a penalty. The fans aren't too happy about that one. And since the restart, Athletic Club have been really impressive. They lost 2 games, and that was against Barcelona and Real Madrid, both 1-0. Nothing embarrassing about that. So Athletic Club looking good. They're still fighting for Europe. Sevilla trying to get into Champions League. This is could be one of the most high-profile, most at stake kind of games of the week, but it could be one of the most boring ones because Sevilla do like to pass the ball around, just bored people to death. So I could see this one, like you say, Sevilla passing it around, Athletic defending, maybe somebody nicks it.
I think draw half-time might be high on a few people's lists here, Martin.
Indeed, yeah. Can't really go against Sevilla. They finally brought that long streak of draws to an end with a pretty comfortable victory at the weekend. They missed a few chances as well. It could have been a heavier scoreline. They were very, very comfortable in the end. And I think they will have conserved a fair bit of energy in that game. Athletic Bilbao obviously had a tough evening against the Real Madrid side who dominate the ball. Only narrowly lost. To be fair, they've only lost to Real Madrid and Barcelona, haven't they, since the restart? They're a good team. They're difficult to break down. But I do see Sevilla having most of the ball in this game. I think they could just nick it, even though it's on the road. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards Sevilla. And again, I'll go draw no bet. Sevilla draw no bet, 1.71.
1.71. Draw no bet, Sevilla. I was probably going to go with draw no bet or double chance the home team. It's one of those I'll have to have a real good think about now. Now, Sociedad, who are in the Valencia camp for me for not turning up. Minus 162, Sociedad. Draw plus 275. And we got Granada at plus 400. Granada are doing a little bit better, Euan, than their results suggest.
Yeah, they've had a couple of draws that they probably should have won. The Valencia one last weekend, they drew 2-2. Valencia just had a little burst where they got a couple of goals, but apart from that, Granada dominated the game. And yeah, they've been impressive all season, haven't they? They've mathematically secured survival as well, which as a newly promoted team, it's job done. But they're so close to Europa League that they do still have something to play for. I totally agree. Real Sociedad have been so disappointing since the restart, and it kind of centres around Martin Odegaard, doesn't it? He was their star man all season long, and it's come out that he's got this niggling injury that he's been carrying in his knee. Apparently, he's been injured since October, which I don't fully believe, but I think he's been injured for a while, and he's still playing. And it'll be interesting to see because Real Sociedad actually are playing tonight, Monday night, in the previous match day against Levante. It'll be interesting to see if Odegaard does play in that one, how he looks. If you're watching that one tonight on Monday, I'd say pay a lot of attention to Odegaard before you decide on their next one against Granada, because Real Sociedad this season has been Odegaard's team, and if he's not 100%, I'm not going for them.
Yeah, and just to let people know that obviously the Monday night fixtures, to give you plenty warning, we did in the last video. So when we do a video on a Thursday, that covers the games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. So when we do Monday, we start with the fixtures on Tuesday so that we're not rushing you and we're not actually saying to the boys, right, what do you think? Because if they say, oh, I think it's a banker, you've got about an hour or 2 hours to go, and then you've lost all your any chance of any value. Martin, Sociedad Granada, I've got it as an Alex Classic. Both teams to score an over.
Yeah, I like that, Flash. I like that. Interesting listening to the comments about Martin Odegaard. I don't think he'll be starting for Real Madrid next season. I thought he was playing so well at the start of the current campaign. I thought they might take him back, bring him into the fold, give him some minutes next season. And now he's gone off the boil. Okay, he could be injured, but yeah, I don't think he's going to be challenging for a place in the Real Madrid side with the quality they've got. Wonder if he'll go to the Premiership. He's got that sort of pace and electric nature about him. Could see him maybe at like a team like Everton or something like that. But anyway, I digress. I think we can both teams to score in this one. Granada did well to battle back and get that draw with Valencia last time out. Real Sociedad finally won. I know it's only Espanyol, but they did win 2-1. So, both teams to score is 1.8. Looks good. But if you want a bit more value, push it to that Alex Classic. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Barcelona saying Real Sociedad team total over 1.5. You've got Jack Pancake saying Granada team total over 1.5. You could do both, but I would just say Alex Classic or just the both teams to score at -125. Now the last game is Madrid at -550. Draw plus 550. Alaves plus 1400. Are Madrid going to put on a show, Euan, and we're going to see more than just the 1 or 2 goals?
I don't think so. The opposite of what I said with Barcelona. I mean, Real Madrid, I think, will win this one. It's Alaves that come into this with 5 defeats in a row. But there's a couple of things. One is that Alaves just sacked their coach, another sacking, the 4th since the restart. Asier Gaetano is out. Lopez Muniz is in. I don't think he's a particularly great coach, but maybe that new manager bounce makes something happen. Like we saw actually a few weeks ago when Real Madrid went away to Espanyol and they just got a new manager and Real Madrid found it tough. They won 1-0, but Espanyol put on a better performance than they did against Leganes. So new manager bounce always worries me a little bit. What worries me more is the fact that Sergio Ramos is missing from this one. He's suspended. Dani Carvajal too. Rafael Varane might also be. So they might be down to they're down there at centre back. They've got Nacho as well as carrying an injury. So the only fit centre back that we know 100% is going to play is Eder Militao. He might have to be partnered by somebody from the youth team. So Real Madrid are going to beat Alaves. I'm sure of that, but I'm not going to be putting too much money on them winning by many goals or winning both halves or anything like this one. I think just get the job done. Maybe 1-0. We've seen the last few weeks they'll take a 1-0. They just want to win the league. It doesn't matter about how many goals they're scoring.
Yeah, Martin, how do we find the value on this one? Because as Euan says, the boys at the back, they're away. I'm not having most of their centre-backs anyway, not as partnerships. So do we see Alaves scoring? And how do we find any value in this game?
Yeah, I think what Euan was just saying about the injuries to centre-backs might make you a bit worried about this game going over. But I still think I'm not saying they'll keep a clean sheet, but I still think they'll get another low-scoring victory in this one. Maybe 2-1, something like that. But I can see them winning it 1-0 again, 2-0. I know it's Ramos that's been banging in the penalties of late, but I think they've got enough attacking quality in their squad to score against Alaves. They haven't been hammered like they did against Celta Vigo in the last few games. They've had a few low-scoring defeats in a row. But yeah, I think there's just a real steely determination about Real Madrid at the moment. Even they can control this game in midfield. They'll see a lot of the ball. I think they'll keep that defence pretty protected. Maybe drop one of the centre midfielders back into central defence or something like that. I think they'll just about get the job done. Under 4.5 goals, obviously, is a classic bet. You don't really get the value there. I think you have to push it to Real Madrid and under 3.5 goals in this one. You can get 2.05 on
Perfect.
that. I'd say that looks pretty safe. The last 5 Real Madrid games haven't gone over 3.5 goals. The last 5 Alaves games haven't, apart from that Celta Vigo game. So, yeah, another low-scoring Real Madrid victory for me, closing in on the title. Well done.
Yeah, under 3.5 goals with Real Madrid being victorious is probably the way to go. But Luffy, he's being a bit shrewd because he says a penalty is an absolute banker to be awarded in maybe in the game, but obviously you're expecting it to go to the Real Madrid. Okay, so I need you, Martin, to give me a rundown. I need that parlay if you've got one, which will be tough this week, but I need a banker. And remember, I'm going to be giving two selections that we're going to carry forward into the Serie A show, and then we're going to have 6 and put them in a parlay. So I'm looking for 2. Let's go, Martin.
Okay, under 2.5 goals, Valencia versus Valladolid, 1.67. Straight win for Atletico Madrid, 2.15 against Celta Vigo. Pass. Both teams, no, pass. Barcelona -2, Asian handicap at 1.74 against Espanyol. Eibar draw no bet, 1.8 against Leganes. Sevilla draw no bet at 1.71 against Athletic Bilbao. Both teams to score, Real Sociedad versus Granada, 1.8. And Real Madrid an under 3.5 goals at 2.05 against Alaves. You've got to put Real Madrid and Barcelona, I think, in a parlay, given the way they're both playing right now. They're both fighting for the title. Stick Atletico Madrid draw no bet in there as well. And Eibar draw no bet for a 14 parlay. I like the look of that.
Does it pay anything?
Yeah. I haven't got my calculator in front of me, but yeah, on those 4, you get about 3 to 1.
Really? Okay, that's something for people to look back on. Okay, well, I've starred one of the selections, Martin. I'm going to put forward for our 6-team European parlay. Euan, what have you got for me?
Yeah, I agree with almost everything there, but the Atletico Madrid, I'm just sort of steering clear of that one, not because of Atletico Madrid, but like I said, Celta Vigo, I could see them winning this one even. I'm just steering clear of that one, but I do really like we said before, the Barcelona to win big. Even some of the suggestions from the comments, the win both halves one, I actually really like that. And as I said as well, Eibar to win the draw no bet with Eibar looks a decent one as well, because you really can't see Leganes winning that one, and I'm confident in my Eibar, so that's the ones I'd be going for.
That's good, Euan, because I've actually put that on. So basically, I'm going to have a little look. I like Valladolid, double chance at 1.92. I like Atletico at plus 105 because I'm getting the value. I don't need over or unders or anything else. Villarreal, draw no bet, plus 200 against Getafe. I'm going to leave that alone. Betis and Osasuna, I think, draw half time. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to fast forward. I think my absolute banker is both teams to score, Sociedad and Granada at 1.8. And I'm going to also select Eibar and Leganes. Eibar at 1.8, draw no bet. So our 2 selections that are going to go forward for the European parlay, they're going to be Eibar, draw no bet at 1.8, and Sociedad and Granada at 1.8, both teams to score. Okay, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, ring the bell, and thumbs up. That's for them. If you put you ring the bell, then we can notify you. You won't miss any content ever again. And as Martin said, if you press the link in the description, you'll go over and be able to read his article. And he's actually wrote in there and Euan's obviously confirmed. Eibar, draw no bet at 1.8, and there's other sports from other writers. Gentlemen, I thank you. I look forward to seeing you again at the end of the week. It's good to have you back, Euan. The boys are actually calling for you. Paco's been doing a good job, but I fancy Euan, you're sitting at the top of the tree at the moment. So let's hope that you continue that way. Martin, great work. I'll see you on Premier League Punters.
Thanks, Flash. Look forward to it.
Cheers, Euan. That's Euan.
Take care, guys.
That's Euan from La Liga Lowdown now. Everyone in the chat. If you want the next two legs, then you'll join us very shortly when we go live with Serie A. That will be with Tancredi and the madman himself, Alex. Need classic tips. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals. We'll see you again soon. You take care.